Tony D and Little Joan somewhere in the background, and this is your screenwriter's take on The Penguin, Episode 3, starring Colin Farrell and other people as the villain from Batman, and of course, there's no Batman. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 16. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Again, most of this series is just being held up by the fact Colin Farrell's performance is just that amazing and the makeup to go with. This episode focuses on Vic, who isn't a bad character. He's just not as interesting. He's okay. But ultimately, I don't know, man. Vic is kind of generic, kind of forgettable in his own way. As always, I'll give you my non-spoiler review and then the spoiler review. So my non-spoiler review, it's a pretty good episode. I like the interaction between Vic and Oz in this episode. So it built their relationship up a little bit. It's still not as well written as I'd like it to be. You have Colin Farrell's performances way up here. You have the makeup, it's way up here. You have the effects, it's way up here. The writing is down here. That's the only way I could describe it. It's not bad. It's not down here with like most of television. It's above average. But it doesn't rise to this level. They're to me, they're dropping the ball on little details. Which is why I would give this one, again, I can't give it a 10, but I'd give it like a 9-ish. I mean, it's so hard to give it something lower because there's nothing else to watch that's worth a damn. But this was pretty good. Okay. So, again, up until this episode, I say stick with it. I say watch it. All right, let's move on to the non-spoiler review and break it down. All right, what's the first act? Well, the first act is, or the prologue, I guess you could say, is Vic right before the events that would lead him to meet Oz. So you see the seawall break, and his family is probably killed by the wall of water. You get to meet his family, and they are probably killed by the disaster that hits Gotham. It's not 100%. Somebody could have survived. They could have all survived. And maybe Vic doesn't know, but, they keep it vague enough you could go either way. But they're probably dead. At least Vic thinks they're dead, right? And it sets up his girlfriend, Gabriella, and maybe they're going to run away together, maybe not. Okay. Cut to current day. Oz has bought him new clothes. He finally pays him and, is making Vic more part of his crew. And at this point, I'm okay with that because I'm thinking to myself, well, he's Oz's driver. And although Oz, I think in the second episode, tells him the story how he became a driver and he didn't know how to drive stick and then learned it in like a weekend so he could do it. Vic isn't that guy. Vic is the complete opposite of Oz in that respect. He is not an ambitious guy at all. The only moment you see in ambition is when he talks to his dad about wanting more than what they already have. And they're happy living in Crown Point, the poor person's town, for some reason. It's a weird scene because when people talk like that, oh, don't you want something more in this life? Yeah, everybody wants more money. I'm pretty sure everybody would like, if you said, would you like 5% more money? They'd be like, oh yeah, that'd be great. They just don't want to kill themselves to get it, maybe, but sure that they want it. That's kind of a given, up to a point. But anyhow, the deal is Oz and Sophia are going to meet with the Triads. That's a Chinese mafia, which I'm very familiar with. And they're going to cut a deal with them so they could deal this new drug they call Bliss. Vic is going to be the driver. At the last minute, Sophia says, no, he can't go in. You're going to drive me. And so Oz then drives Sophia to a meeting where he gets to finally see what the new drug is. And he eventually names it Bliss, which is the name of the episode. So the drug is something they gave to the inmates at Arkham, which is how Sophia knows about it. But Sophia somehow also knows how to get the mushrooms that they harvested from, and that's what they're growing to get the drug. Seems to me they might just, I don't know, steal the drug from Arkham in some big scam. I mean, the city's so corrupt, but okay, so they're gonna farm the drug off these mushrooms. Fine. Although there's a weird moment where Sophia says, oh, to Oz, don't touch the mushrooms. You know, any change in their moisture could kill the entire colony. So Oz doesn't touch it. And then literally 30 seconds later, Sophia picks one off, one of the bunches, and shows him the stuff on top. Didn't she just touch the colony and possibly ruin it? So I don't know why people do that. That to me is a huge mistake. It's not a rookie mistake. It's a mistake that it's like a rewrite mistake. They missed that in the rewrite. I don't know how you can watch that and not go, didn't she just say he can't touch the colonies and then she touches the colonies? Didn't she just say that? Literally watch the scene. And you might say, oh, you're kind of picking on nothing. Look, how much money did they spend on this effing thing that you make a mistake like that? This is the big leagues. Supposedly, you're not supposed to make mistakes like this when you're spending millions and millions of dollars on a TV series. Millions of dollars they're spending. Millions. This is supposed to be... You're not supposed to make mistakes like this. Maybe you make a creative choice that doesn't go over. That's not the same kind of mistake. This is a mistake, in my view. Anyhow. So, now you get this drug called Bliss. Meanwhile, Vic finally reconnects with his girlfriend. And the implication is he has not seen this girl since he started working for Oz. Now, it's been 2 episodes. It feels like a lot of time has passed. At least a few days. It's kind of hard to tell. Not exactly sure. It feels like days, possibly even weeks. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure the exact time frame here. But it is possible he just never called her. But he hasn't talked to her, I think, since the disaster. And then their friend who helped him steal the car is dead, and he's been missing, and people are looking for him. And she hasn't seen him, so she was kind of worried. But she's not as worried as you'd quite imagine. Like, to me, I think she'd be, like, freaking out, reporting him missing, if she's really in love with him, which is what they imply. So she comes over, and they have this conversation. She's leaving for California. She wants him to come. He's not sure he could leave, and is trying to think of a way that he could leave. He tells her he's going to meet her at the bus station. Then Oz, for some reason, calls him and tells him, oh, I'm coming back. So I'm not sure why he's doing that. I'm not sure he would need to do that, but okay. Again, the detail right there is missing. It could have been that Oz signals him, hey, kid, do me a favor and, I don't know, warm up some cognac. I'm coming in about 20 minutes. Like, give Oswald a reason to call Vic to tell him he's coming back. Not that he just calls him. Because the only reason is functional in the script, which is, oh, Vic has to get rid of Gabriella in that moment. Okay, so The next step is they're going to see the triads. Now, Sophia didn't want Vic at the unveiling of the drug for some reason. That seems like small potatoes when they bring Vic for the meeting with the triads. Now, he's not in the meeting, but she allows him to go. So why does she, make this power play that Vic can't come to see the drugs, but it's okay for him to come to the meeting with the triads? Not sure. Doesn't really make sense. Now, they're having a meeting with the triad, and the idea is they're going to meet with the triads and say, hey, we have this new drug, you distribute it, and we're going to take over the city. Triads are mad. They have to convince them to play ball, this lieutenant triad. And in order to convince them, they have to get the approval of one of their own guys who they lie about says backing him, right? Vic is sitting in the car with a giant bag full of the drug. Seems incredibly unnecessary. Vic shouldn't have been there. It's, again, another excuse to have a scene with Vic where the cop shakes him down and then basically takes his money and Vic sort of bribes him. Sort of like indirectly bribes him. It's not a bad scene, but again, if Vic didn't need to be at the first meeting, why does he need to be at this meeting where he doesn't even leave the car? Doesn't make any sense. Next scene is this scene, which is probably the best scene in the episode, where Oz actually gets to know Vic and treats him very nice and, talks to him like a real human being. So he does that and, keeps telling him he's got to stand up for himself, all this stuff. Vic's reaction is solid, but he seems distracted. It seems like through the whole episode, he's planning to leave Oz to go with Gabriel. And he keeps trying to tell Oz the deal, and he never gets around to doing it. Okay. At this point, we're in the second act. So that's the conundrum here. Is he going to leave Oz to go off with Gabrielle? So next, they set up this thing where they're going to be in a club and they're going to pass out the drug and sell it and show the triads how well the drug is received. But in order to do that, they first need this guy, Johnny Vidi's approval, and they're going to blackmail him into making a phone call. So they already know he's sleeping with the mob boss's wife. So Sophia and Oz go into the restaurant, or no, it's in this restaurant actually. Oz leaves Vic and joins Sophia into blackmailing somehow or pressuring the wife of Falcone's current boss, who's having an affair with John Vitti, who shouldn't be having sex with her. So they bust into his room and basically blackmail him into the phone call. So now they get the phone call. Now they're going to do the drug debut in the club. Vic is the bag man. Now, here's where, again, I have a problem with Vic. Again, if you had set up in the beginning of the series that Vic had already done some work for Oz, there'd be no problem with this. That he had some experience doing something. Vic seems to have no experience doing anything in the criminal underworld, and he's apparently messed up, traumatized from the seawall incident. Now that's revealed. He's also stammering, which I'd have to look at episode 1 again, but he wasn't stammering all that much in episode 1. Maybe I mistook the stammering in episode 1 for just nervousness, and then later, by 2 and 3, he was doing it so much, I was like, oh, that's like a real stammer. But either way, it seems like Vic is not cut out for the criminal life. He's just not cut out for it. So he has a breakdown in the middle of the club. Oz confronts him in the bathroom. At first, he's super happy because they're going to cut this deal. And then he blows his top because he's mad that Vic doesn't want to stay. The Vic doesn't want to work for him. Vic wants to leave. And so he gets mad, and they have a confrontation. And in the end, Vic leaves in his car. which again is another detail. Why does Oz let him leave and tell him to F off and doesn't get his car keys back? How's Oz going to get home? So the kid steals his car, drives to the bus station where Gabrielle has been texting him through the whole episode, and now she's going to get on the bus and leave Gotham forever. He can now go with her. The way Vic has been written throughout these 3 episodes, I think to me, it looks obvious he should go with Gabrielle. Like, that his character, the way he's written in the first 3 episodes, seems like he should leave. What they needed was a reason, right? So, for instance, if Oz, who gets into trouble a short time later and gets confronted by gangsters, had somehow managed to text Vic, I'm in trouble, get here with the car. Or maybe it would be a situation where the gangsters are slowly rolling up and Oz has just enough time to text him, Vic, I think I'm going to need my car. Something like that. Where Vic now has to make a decision. Does he abandon Oz to his fate and go off with his girlfriend, or does he save Oz? And in the end, it's bros before hoes, and he decides to save Oz. The other detail, again, and this is a show that costs millions of dollars. There are Oz and Sophia get confronted by the Maronis. It's one of the main Maronis, some woman, and 2 bodyguards. 2. Vic pulls up just as Oz and Sophia are on their knees. They look like they're going to be shot. And so there's a couple of things wrong. The first thing wrong is the lead Maroni woman wouldn't be in the car with these thugs to murder someone in the not broad daylight, in the middle of the street in Gotham. That would be a huge no-no. It would just be the thugs. The thugs probably wouldn't waste any time and would immediately kill them or start shooting at them. But okay, you want to have this confrontation in the street where Vic saves him, fine. Vic drives the Penguin's car into one of the thugs, basically cripples him for life or kills him. And somehow Oz gets in the car and they take off. He says, leave Sophia, who cares? Who gives an F? And as he's taking off, they're shooting at him. First off, what happened to the other thug? What happened to the lead Maroni character? What happened to Sophia? I guess we find out in the next episode. Seems like, Vic, although Vic saves Oz, you could have done that in a different way. So one way you could have done it is, instead of just hitting one of the bodyguards, Vic hits both of them with the car because they're standing right next to each other or something, which that's what I thought they were going to do the way they were standing. And then the lead Maroni character doesn't have her gun. She was relying on the thugs or whatever. Or maybe she then has to pull out another gun and start shooting. And that's how they get away. I'm not sure why they would abandon Sophia. I'm not sure why Sophia would just stand there while all this is going on. Seems pretty stupid. I guess we're going to find out in the 4th episode what happened to Sophia in the incident. But the incident's blocking is weird and clunky. I get what they're going for. They're getting for Vic has decided to stay with Oz. He literally goes to the bus station and then just leaves. He has a total opportunity to get on the bus with Gabriella, and he just doesn't do it. Why? We don't know. I wish we did, though. I wish we had seen a decision from Vic. An actual decision. Like he just says, no. Or maybe Gabriella is pushing him too hard already. Maybe Gabriella betrays the way she really feels. Like she says something, she gets impatient and says, don't be a loser. We have to leave Gotham. You can get out of here. You won't be a loser all your life, or something like that. And then he could realize, oh, she thinks I'm a loser. I'll show her, kind of thing. And that's why he stays. Something like that. We needed something like that to show us the decision-making process in Vic's mind. And we kind of don't get it. But he saves Oz. And now we're back to status quo, I guess. And that's basically the end of the episode. So, again, good, but not great. Not The thing that's great is Colin Farrell. He's just amazing in this, and the makeup is amazing, and I gotta say the effects are amazing too. But the writing's not quite there. It's good, but it's not great. It's like you needed one more polish. You know, you needed one more polish on this, and it irks me. It's not there. It's kind of like when Game of Thrones, not when it was really bad. Like, you know, just after they ran out of the books, and they were using George R. Martin's outlines for the next couple of episodes, and you started to watch it and go, "Oh, this isn't quite what I was watching." Like, that's the level. That's the level. It's not quite there. It could be amazing, and it's not. It's good. It's not amazing. But I think everybody's calling it amazing because there's literally nothing else on television worth a damn. And that's not a slam at the show. I'm going to stick with the show. I'm very interested in the 4th episode because I hear something crazy happens in that. So, again, and the mistakes here, mistakes I'll put in quotes, a lot of them can be corrected with further elaboration down the road. So it could be revealed that some of this stuff was supposed to happen for reasons that Oswald orchestrated, or maybe even Vic orchestrated. But we're not quite there yet. It feels to some extent that two things are happening. They're sort of developing the characters as they go, and they didn't do enough rewrites to go back and kind of smooth that out. And number two, they are stuck with making sure Vic stays in the series, and they're going kind of too far to make you believe he's leaving when it's just not going to happen. You know? Don't try to make us think Vic is leaving when he's really going to stay. It's not very believable. You know, he feels like a regular cast member. You know, if you had killed him off this episode, I would have been like, oh, Game of Thrones, baby. But you didn't. So it is what it is. He's a cast member. Don't keep teasing us like he's going to leave or like you're going to kill him. Now we know he's a cast member. And in television, you ain't going to get rid of Vic. I don't think. Now, if you kill him in the next episode, that'll be a total surprise. And I'll be like, Game of Thrones, baby. Seasons 1 to 3 of Game of Thrones. Oh, when you kill somebody I was rooting for. I like Vic's character. He's okay. But he just doesn't compare to Oz. And I feel like they spent all their time and energy developing Oz. And kind of say, oh, yeah, he's going to have this kid Vic that he pushes around. But we'll see. And I'm kind of shocked that Oz hasn't bought him better clothes. Like, he buys him clothes. They're not... He still looks like Vic. He's still, like, wearing hoodies and stuff. Like, why not give him a suit jacket? Like, you know, you got Oz. It's weird. Anyhow, keep watching The Penguin. I think I am. Again, I got in late, but you can get in late, too, if you're seeing this episode. Hope you like my analysis. Thanks for tuning in today. Don't forget the live stream at 7, where we do it live. See you in the live stream.